Today we're covering 6.3, graphing quadratics from factored form. So just like before, we still have an a in our equation. So a in the front of the equation, when it is a positive number, it's going to open up, which means we have a minimum. So when a is positive, there we go. It's going to open up, which means it has a minimum. And when a is negative, it opens down, so it has a maximum. Then we now have these factors. So we're always going to have the x minus or plus a number. So whatever number is in this spot is going to be our first zero or first x-intercept. And whatever is in the second spot is going to be our second zero or x-intercept. So how do we find what these zeros actually are? So what we're going to do is we are going to set those parentheses equal to 0 and solve. So set equal to 0 and solve. So a hint, if you get good at this, what you really can do is just use the opposite sign. So whatever sign you see, it's going to be the opposite of that. So let's check it out. I think it'll make sense as we go. So example 1, the a is the invisible 1 in the front. So a is 1. And then our zeros, we're going to set these parentheses equal to 0 and solve. So I'm going to set x minus 1 equal to 0. So if I wanted to solve that, I'd add 1 to both sides. So x equals positive 1. Then to find the second zero, I'd set x equals minus 5, or x minus 5 equal to 0. So if I wanted to solve to get x alone, I would add 5 to both sides. So x equals 5. So our two zeros are happening at x equals 1 and at x equals 5. So those are my two x-intercepts. Notice they did change the sign. So this was a minus 1 and a minus 5, and then they became a positive 1 and a positive 5 in the answer. So if you get good at this, you can just skip the set equal to 0 step, and you can just switch the signs to get the zeros. So again, and then vertex is the max or the min. Well, a is positive, so we know if it's positive, it's opening up. So that point at the bottom is a minimum. All right, next one. We've got the invisible 1 in the front, so a equals 1. I'm going to set these equal to 0. And then solve each of them for x. So here I'm going to minus 2. So x equals negative 2. So my first 0 is that x equals negative 2. Second one, we will add 3. So x equals 3. Then a is positive. So positive again, it's going to have a minimum because it's opening up. I'd recommend pausing the video and trying the next one before you watch it. All right, to check your answers. This time we have a negative in the front, so a is negative 1. So if it's negative, it's opening down, so it's going to have a maximum. And this time, see if you can just skip the solving step and just change the sign. So this one, x minus 5, so I'm going to change the sign. It becomes positive 5. Here, x minus 9, change the sign, x equals positive 9. So my zeros are at 5 and at positive 9. All right. We can use factored form to find the vertex of our quadratic. So to do this, to find the vertex, we are going to first find the zeros, which we just practiced, find the average of the two zeros, so like what's in the middle of them. So for the average, if you don't have a visual to do it, you can add the numbers. So add numbers and then divide by 2. And then you plug the value into the original equation. So to see what that looks like in action, zeros, we know we switch the signs. So my first 0 is at 1, my second 0 is at 3. So to find the x value of the vertex, so you add the numbers, then divide by 2. So I'm going to do 1 plus 3 and divide by 2, and that's going to give me the x value of the vertex. So that's 4 divided by 2, so my x value is 2. Then to find the y value of the so my vertex, x is 2. To find the y value, I'm going to take that x and plug it in for the x values in here. So I take that 2, plug it in for the x's. So it would look like y equals 2 minus 1, and then 2 minus 3. So 2 minus 1 is 1, 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so I'm going to multiply those. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So my vertex is happening at 2 comma negative 1. Another way my students like to do it is instead of doing the average, so like adding them and dividing them by 2, they actually graph it out. So they look at like x is 1, x is 3, what is in the middle of them? So in the middle of that is 2, so they knew the x value was 2. So it's another way you can think about it. All right, I would pause the video and try example 5 before you listen to it. So zeros, we are going to switch the signs. So x equals a positive 8 and x equals a negative 2. Then to find the x value, we are going to add them together and divide by 2. So 8 plus negative 2 divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I know my vertex, the x value is 3. Then we're going to take this x value, plug it in for the x's. So y equals 3 minus 8, 3 plus 2. So that gives me a negative 5 times a positive 5. Did I make a mistake? 3 minus negative 5, 5. Yeah, it looks right to me. So that equals negative 25. So our vertex is at 3, negative 25. All right. Take it a step further to find the y-intercept from factored form. All right, cool. So now we're going to do these same steps, but also possibly find the y-intercept. So we are going to find our zeros. So we know this one's going to change the sign. This one will change the sign. So our zeros are happening at x equals 2 and at x equals 4. So on the graph, we can graph x is 2, x is 4. So those are my x-intercepts, or my zeros. To find the, well, I guess max or min, A is positive. So if it's positive, it faces up, so it's going to have a minimum. The vertex, to find the x value, we can average them or each look in the middle of the 2 points. So the center of those 2 points is 3. So I know that the vertex is going to happen at 3. If that's hard for you to see, you could also do what we've been doing and average them. So 2 plus 4 divided by 2, 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So we also get 3. Then we take that 3, plug it in for the x's. So it'll look like y equals 3 minus 2, 3 minus 4. So this is 1 times negative 1. So our y value is negative 1. So my vertex is going to be at the point 3, negative 1. And then my axis of symmetry is going to be wherever the vertex is, so at x equals 3. And then we're going to connect our points. Beautiful. All right, I would recommend trying the last example before you watch it. So zeros, we're going to change the signs. So x equals negative 1 and x equals positive 5. So we can graph those. So negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, positive 5. So to find it's positive, so opens up, which means it has a minimum. So for the vertex, you either can find the center of those 2 points. So the center to me looks like it's 2, but we could also average them. So negative 1 plus positive 5 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So I know my x value of the vertex is 2. Then I take it, plug it in for the x's. So y equals 2 plus 1, 2 minus 5. So 3 times negative 3. So that equals negative 9. So our vertex is at the point 2, negative 9. And our axis of symmetry should also be at the x value of the vertex, so at 2. And then we can connect our points with a parabola. Oh, that's a bad job. One more time. Connect the points with the U shape. There we go. All right, you now know how to graph in vertex form. Nope, not vertex form. Factored form. There we go. All right, you may now try your 6.3 practice. Good luck. Let us know if you need any help.